Hello there, welcome to The Real You. This is Susanna. I'm so happy to be here for you and guide you through the realm of misinterpretations. Now today we'll look into this complex subject of forgiveness. We all know how it is. There's some things, people or situations in life that seem harder to forgive. Now if you've been through a traumatic, violent or abusive situation of any kind, please assume full responsibility for your own state of well-being. This video will not get there, as this should be addressed through and with the help of a professional assistance. And if that's your case, book an appointment with me so we can clear this out for you. Now, we all hear this very often, isn't it? It's good to let go, it's good to forgive, holding grudges is not good for you, forgiving is healthy, a nice person has to forgive, love is forgiveness, etc. And that's all right. But my question to you is, how precisely do we do that? How do we forgive? And before starting to bring more light into this subject for you, I would like to do a little exercise with you right away. Because if you're there behind the screen of your phone or of your computer watching this video, this means that you are looking for forgiveness in your life, isn't it? So please think of that person or that situation that you would like to forgive. Name it. Say their name out loud. Then name what happened. What did they do to you? And then name what that situation created in you. Humiliation, pain, anger, frustration, etc. So please take all the time you need. Just make sure that you write it down on a paper or say it out loud. And when you're done, take a deep breath and go ahead and forgive them. So what happened? How come it didn't work? So how do we do it then? What exactly do we have to do to forgive? Because you see, just willing to forgive does not complete the process. The process of forgiveness requires a little bit more than just the willingness to do it. And we are about to discover how we can do this. And also we have a few misinterpretations to correct, of course. Now, first of all, we need to look into the word forgiveness. What is forgiveness? What do we mean by that? Have you ever asked yourself this question? We are using all these generic words, but do we know what they mean? It's a notion, right? It's like any other concept. And forgiveness is to a certain degree misunderstood and misapplied as some sort of quality that one needs to have or to develop within themselves. Forgiveness has long been associated with sin. Think about it. And when we read through various philosophies and religions, forgiveness looks like a key factor in the process of ascending to a more godlike image in ourselves, which is a great thing. However, in this context, it could have some sort of heaviness and may put some pressure on some people, as the inability to do it will add even more burden to their hearts. On the other hand, there's also this more egoistic aspect of forgiveness, if you want, which is, I forgive them so then God can forgive me. That person was mean and hurt me and he was a bad person, but I will forgive them, I'm better than them. And so I will forgive them. Now, as much as we could look at forgiveness as being a quality that one has to develop in their lives, like compassion or devotion, forgiveness for us, the ordinary, less initiated mortals, is not a quality of being. Anybody can do it because it has nothing to do with good or bad, with right and wrong, nothing to do with sin whatsoever. It is a matter of bringing the light of the truth to that specific situation, to the subject. And you will see what I mean by that. Now, forgiveness exists only as long as the idea of sin or wrongdoing exists. We can only forgive what is wrong. Forgiveness is necessary as long as you have accepted the idea that you can be hurt, that you are fragile, that you are vulnerable, that you are a victim, or that this world is a dangerous place. Forgiveness is just the other side of the coin with the idea that you can be hurt. And this is not just philosophical talk. Now, let's imagine for a moment that we could remove completely the idea that you can be hurt, or that you are fragile, or that this world is an unfriendly place. All of that, completely gone. And please don't tell me that you cannot imagine that, because this is how you were before you learned how it is to be hurt. So let's say we remove that completely. If we remove that completely, where and what for do we need forgiveness? You see, forgiveness is not about accepting an unacceptable event. Because if we consider that that situation or that action or that act was unacceptable, we can never get ourselves to accept it. It is all about undoing the distorted image that you are a victim, that you are weak and fragile. Forgiveness is neutralizing all of these shocks and trauma and emotional charges associated to that initial event, to these moments when you learned how to be hurt. And another misinterpretation that we really need to correct is that it's all about you. It's not. You really believe that they did it to you, but they didn't. Actually, it has nothing to do with you per se. And let me take you out of this context for a moment. The world, as I frequently say in my videos, is a sum or a dance of patterns. I mean, just think of the universe and see how it is structured. Clusters, galaxies, superclusters. And that's what happens as well at a micro level. Our bodies, made of patterns. Different categories of cells performing different functions, interacting in a specific way. And so are we. Mentally, we're made of patterns. Patterns that we form, that we create, that have been given, that have been induced or transmitted, transferred to us. Everything in us is a pattern inside and outside. Now, that person who hurt you and manifested that violent or abusive behavior has acted upon her conditioning, has acted upon their own patterns. There's also something else which is very important for you to understand, is that all adults, when they manifest some violent or abusive behavior towards others, they are children who didn't grow up. The ones who hurt others are children who are suffering and turning eternally through the same loop, just like you. So, here are the steps that you need to go through so that forgiveness can be completed. And we'll cover them all in this tapping session. 1, we need to acknowledge the inability to forgive and to tap on that. It's all right not to know how to forgive. We are learning that right now. 2, we need to work on the idea of weakness, on where and why you have decided that this world is a place where others can hurt you. 3, clear the idea that it's about you. And 4, and the most important one, we want to give you more access to that greater you. And this is not a metaphor. And I'm pretty sure that you already know this. This event, this traumatic event, created a loop inside your mind, inside your brain, inside your nervous system. Now you are wired that way. But that loop is only a tiny little fragment of your being. No matter how big, significant, or terrifying that event may seem to you now. Just think of our planet. It's huge, right? But look at it compared to the sun. Look at it compared to the galaxy. It becomes a speck in the immensity of the space. And so for you, outside that loop, there's everything else that you are. Outside that loop is the entire you, the invisible aspect of you. The you that has never been hurt, the you that has never been broken. That aspect of you which has not been acknowledged until now, as your attention got trapped into that loop. We want to awaken you to the aspect of you which is not and has never been touched by that event or that series of events, so that you can realize that everything else outside that loop is in order, that everything outside this pattern is actually complete and whole. Because that's what forgiveness is, the realization that you have not been and you cannot be hurt. Of course, when we visit the past, we also need to acknowledge that part of you, the younger you, who's trapped in time, in a painful memory. We really need to look through these memories where you have been exposed to some sort of unfair or violent or abusive behavior from others, and you didn't know how to deal with that, and you didn't know how to let go. You just absorbed it. We really need to go back there and teach that younger you to do that. But then again, this has to be addressed properly, as these memories can be traumatic, and therefore we will not address these in this tapping session. If you want to go to the bottom of this, contact me and book an appointment or a series of appointments so we can free you from that. Now, the second part of this video will be at the actual tapping session. Please stay tuned. I'll upload it shortly for you here on YouTube. Thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you soon.